This is Thomas Shane Nang. As I was reflecting this week, I was recalling a year ago, this same week, a year ago, I started taking courses basically. I started taking courses. Little did I know, that's a habit that I've developed. So it became a habit for the past year. So, as of today, how many courses I've finished? That's about 219 courses, and that's somewhere 16 specializations. But it became a habit. It became a habit a year ago. So looking forward to right now, this same week, it became a habit. Just yesterday, we pre-taped a interview with a Hollywood media executive yesterday. It will be shown in TV soon. Watch out. But as I was interviewing him, I learned a lot from this guy about how do you make most of your situation. Also, how do you have to make most out of it. You just have to, whatever's given to you, you have to give it, because there's no perfect scenario. Just imagine, in the old normal, if you still remember the old normal, if you still miss the old normal, life then was not perfect. The new normal came, it's not perfect. So just imagine, when are we gonna wait for a perfect situation? That's why I realized there's no other way of doing things except we just have to make most of our situation, because there's no such thing as a perfect scenario. And waiting for a perfect scenario would mean, it means never, because old normal is not perfect, new normal is not perfect, but we just have to make most of the situation that we're in. For this episode, I titled it "One Day at a Time." One day at a time. It's something I'm learning. I've heard this from a speaker, Craig Rochelle, but I made my own idea. I made my own acronym, my own application on it. You cannot even plan as before. Like for example, if you think of vacation, you can plan before. You can plan ahead. But now, it's impossible because you do not know what's going to happen next. Especially different places, different protocols to comply. And you can only live one day at a time. One day at a time. One day at a time, that's the acronym. The acronym I'm using is DAY. One day at a time. I did not use the word one because it's a popular word. People are using one. I did not use the word time because everyone's using it also. But I would rather day. One day at a time. Day. The word day. So letter D is decide to do. Decide to do. Decide what you're gonna do for the next day. Decide what you're gonna do for the next day. Like for example, tomorrow we have a virtual event, a Zoom event. It will be a special event where I get to meet the family members of my small group members in Europe and North America. This is my first time to meet them. So decide to do what to do right now. Decide to do what you're gonna do tomorrow. Decide to do, because we can only live one day at a time. So decide now what you're gonna do tomorrow. As a daily habit, I try to plan out what I'm gonna do the next day. I decide what I'm gonna do the next day. As of late, part of my habit is still taking courses. So, like this year, out of the 219, 60 of them I finished this year. Decide what you're gonna do tomorrow, because it's one day at a time. Second, letter A, align yourself to a team. I've been using it, but my idea here is accountability. Align yourself to a team. What do I mean? It's so important that we become accountable. because we can do whatever we want. We can do whatever we want, but there's no guarantee that it's a good decision. When I say align to a team, especially if you belong to a team or you belong to a small group, it's crucial that you have accountability aligned to a team. Like for example, I've been learning to tell my mentor what my plans are. Like for example, there's an opportunity that came, like the TV project, um, an opportunity came of this company. I would mention to him what he thinks, because there's a need for accountability nowadays, because we can do whatever we want. You know, just to give you an example, I'm usually alone in this condominium building. In my condominium unit, I'm usually alone, especially in the morning until afternoon. And the biggest temptation of the guy is to bring a woman, a temptation to do something stupid. But because of accountability, it's something I made the decision that I'm not gonna do it. At the same time, I'm also accountable to those people I'm handling, because I really have to set an example. That's why align yourself to a team. Do you have people that you're accountable to? You have a mentor, you have someone who disciples you, or are you also handling people, setting an example to them? And letter Y is yield to the creator. You know, for you to be watching this or listening to this, it means you're still alive. There's a reason why you're still alive. There's a reason that you're not sick. Well, there's a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. I have a purpose. You have a purpose. We all have a purpose. That's why we need to yield to our creator, because we have a purpose. There are times we are so frustrated with our lives. It's because we are not living out. We know deep in our hearts we're not living out a life that we are designed to do. That's why we need to yield to our creator, because he knows the plans he has for us. He created us. That's why creator, because we are no accident. We are created. That's why That's why this episode is one day at a time. Basically, how do you live one day at a time? The acronym is D.A.Y. Letter D is decide what you're gonna do tomorrow. I finally got the phrase right, because I keep on forgetting. I don't have a script right now. Decide what you're gonna do tomorrow, because you can only live one day at a time. So what are you gonna do tomorrow? Do you plan, like in my case, I plan to study, I plan to plan out some of my projects. We have an event tomorrow which I organize. One day at a time. What are you supposed to decide that you need to do tomorrow? Decide now. Don't just be an accident that come what may. Letter A is align to a team. Are you accountable to someone? Do you have a mentor? Do you have someone that can speak to that in case you're struggling with anything? At the same time, are you accountable with people that you're handling also, that you need to be a good example to? And letter Y, yield to the creator, because going back, we have a purpose. We are no accident, because we are created for his purpose, not for our own crazy ideas. What do I mean crazy ideas? Because there are times we have these crazy moments, we feel like doing something stupid, but that's why we need to yield to the creator, one day at a time. Letter D, the word is day. D is decide what you're gonna do tomorrow. Plan ahead. Letter A, align to a team. Have people that you can be accountable to. And letter I, yield to the creator, because going back, you're not an accident. You are created. That's why we have a purpose. We have to know that purpose also from our creator. Thank you for joining me. That's our simple message for today. Our simple thought for today. Hope you join me again soon.